we Harding, who's down at Dookie, who's I think he's got a bit of rust in some crops. So welcome. Oh, Elmo, hey?
Welcome to Dookie. Yeah, Elmo and I here, and we're just going to talk about some early season rust, what we've been seeing in the paddock, why potentially we've been seeing it, and potentially what to do going forward. So I think it's probably worth backing over some of the weather data that Lavo's sort of said. So here in Dookie, we've had about 360 mils year to date, 240 mils GSR, so I'm counting April onwards. We've had about 80 mils in March. So what did that sort of really mean for us? It meant that we had piles of sheep feed, I suppose. So we had volunteers, we had ryegrass, we had everything growing. So realistically, what does that mean? It means we've got a significant green bridge coming into the season. So while that might have been good for a bit of early sheep feed, it probably wasn't great for rust and disease going forward. Yeah, so I suppose rust needs a host to live on the whole way through. So if we have a wet summer and then a wet autumn and you don't get that break, so you don't get a break somewhere, you'll have significant rust pressure coming into the season. And obviously as the season warms up in the spring, you'll see significant pressure coming on. So I suppose what's our key management of rust sort of processes? So I suppose we choose resistant varieties, and then flutriafol's sort of been the backbone of what we've done the last 10 to 12 years, as long as I've been here anyway. So Elmo's has got a little bit of a slide to put up there. Yep, so the flutriafol breakdown trial. So that's going to tell us how long that we can. So yeah, bear in mind, very susceptible variety we're always sowing there, but it's just giving us an indication about, I suppose, rust pressure for that year and how quickly we're breaking down. So I suppose in 2011, 2012, both wet summers, but probably drier autumn. So we were able to get on and control volunteers and get things sown with a bit of a break there. 2013, probably a dry year all round, so probably didn't quite have the rust pressure. But the one that I really want to drag your attention to is 2014. So really wet start. So probably not the wettest summer, but a wet autumn. So we had significant rain April, May, June. I remember that year. It was probably my second year as an agro, I think. So had significant pressure of ryegrass, of wheat, everything growing. Had a nightmare trying to clean things up. Plenty of double knocks and all that sort of stuff. So what does that remind us of? It probably reminds us of 2020. So bear in mind that today is 83 days since the 7th of May. So we're probably getting in 2014, what's it there, 65 to 75 days out of our 200 to 400 mils of flutriafol, so the low rate to the high rate of flutriafol. So expect to probably see some rust starting to sneak into susceptible varieties now. So I suppose we'll just flick to a couple of pictures now of what we've been seeing in the paddock. So we have been seeing plenty of rust, but I suppose it's all been found in untreated, unprotected crops, so crops without flutriafol under them. So the first picture there is from James Murray. That's Trojan at Finley. Obviously taking on a little bit of rust and quite easy to find. And he also commented that Scepter down the road didn't have the rust pressure that the Trojan did. So we'll probably talk about that in a bit of a second. So the first one, that was Bennett. I've spoken about Trojan. So Bennett, that was found in northeast Victoria, again untreated. But I think there's probably something to talk about there. So both these varieties in 2018 were both, so the Bennett was regarded as resistant to rust, and the Trojan was an MRMS, but we thought it had very good adult plant resistance. So Trojan generally wasn't a higher risk as long as we had flutriafol under it, and we're getting through to flag leaf and being able to clean things up then. Bennett, was very, very good rust resistance. But in 2018, a new pathotype was identified, so pathotype 198. So that has dropped the resistance rating of Bennett from an R to an S, and and the Trojan from an MRMS to an MSS. So we've got to be aware that things do change. It's not the plant breaking down; it's the actual pathogen is adapting to what is in the paddock at the time. So,
so that picture there, Elmo, that's Trojan you've got in front of you there now. Is it from Finley?
Yeah.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah. So that's obviously unprotected. So, we've got to be aware that potentially resistance ratings are changing, and we've got to be aware of what's out there at the time. So
it's going to affect all the durums too, for anyone with durum wheat.
Yes, there you go. Yeah. Yeah, so I suppose take-home messages. If you've got any unprotected crops, go out, get out the motorbike and have a look. Got to go have a look at these crops and make sure we know what we're looking at. If you've got protected crops, be aware of what resistance status you have, and that for the trifold may well be running out in the next 2 to 3 weeks. So we hope to always get through to flag leaf and clean things up then, but in a high pressure rust year with significant early growth diluting that flu trifold, we may have to come in and have a protection strategy prior to then. And if thinking about control measures, if you have unprotected crops, talk to your agro and work out a bit of a strategy going forward. Obviously, epoxyconazole has been the basis of what we do for rust control. It's probably the strongest in cleaning up rust. But there is also some nicer products, some strobe products, SDHIs, which may be a good fit this year, chasing some high yields and potentially if there's a little bit of water around as well. So, that's about it from me.
So what are you doing, Tommy, down there? You've guys with impact underneath. Are you hanging off till flag leaf in your sceptres and those, your majority of your area, or are you?
Yeah, hoping, Paul. Yeah, so obviously monitoring and making sure we're going to get there. But I'm, obviously potentially fungicide may be short with the big year. So we're just making sure that we're going to have enough for that important spray at flag leaf. We really want to protect those top 3 leaves. So obviously wheats are probably only Z30, 31 now. So we probably don't quite have those important leaves popping up. Obviously, if I've got rust in there, we've got to clean it up. But yeah, hoping we're going to get through, mate. Yeah.
No questions on there, Rosie? No? Probably everyone's sick of hearing about rust after the last 20 years. We know what we're doing, hopefully. No, that was good, mate. Thank you.
Beautiful.